Hey, Walt here from StogieReview.com with another video cigar review. This time around we are doing a bit of a throwback cigar. It's a new production, something that I bought very recently. It is the Sancho Panza Extra Fuerte. You can read it. It's a cigar from Honduras, and it's made by, I believe it's in the Villazon factory from General Cigar. This is a cigar that has been around forever. It's been around for at least as long as I've been smoking cigars, and as a matter of fact, the Sancho Panza Extra Fuerte was the first cigar, the first box of cigars that I ever purchased. I purchased them from JR Cigars probably, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago. And I think I paid somewhere in the neighborhood of $45, $50 for the box at that point. I think they're about 20 cigars per box. And I really used to enjoy them. I used to just love drinking 2 or 3 too many beers and smoking the Extra Fuerte Sancho Panza. It had a nice spicy component to it that cut through all the alcohol, and it made for a stellar drinking cigar. Just have very fond memories of the Extra Fuerte from years past. As a matter of fact, if I went digging through my cooler, I bet I could find at least the box that these came in. I'd be willing to bet there's probably 2 or 3 more cigars left in that box from all those years ago. And the reason being, I'm a bit of a cigar hoarder, pack rat. I don't like finishing off boxes because I wanna save a couple, and I've been doing a lot of cigar cleanup lately. But I haven't come across that particular box yet. I'm kind of getting off topic. But these are new production cigars that I purchased from Atlantic Cigar. I was kind of poking around for cigar deals, needing to fill out one of my humidors, and I noticed that the Sancho Panza Extra Fuerte Pamplonas, which is the Rothschild size, were on sale. They were bundles of 10 for about $19.95, and I decided to put an order in. It's been years since I've ordered anything from Atlantic, but I've heard really good things. My father shops there every now and again, ordering product online, and I thought I'd give it a try. So I ordered the Extra Fuerte Sancho Panzas. They arrived next day. They came UPS Express shipping. I think it was like $5 to ship the whole order, and they were packaged really well. They came in like a humidity bag of sorts, not the Boveda type with the the clear bag that's sort of impregnated with I don't know, some sort of humidification membrane. This is actually like a really big water pillow where one side of the bag is actually, it feels like the interior of a water pillow, where it's got that sort of mesh, and whatever the gel-like substance is, probably propylene glycol, impregnated inside the cloth. So it seemed like a really high-quality bag. The packaging was amazing, really fast shipping, price was great, it arrived perfect. I mean, next day, and shipped out great. So absolutely zero complaints. This will be my first from the batch. This will be my first Sancho Panza Extra Fuerte in years. So give me a second, let me get this thing lit, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Alright, my Sancho Panza Extra Fuerte is lit. I'm smoking along, just barely into it, but I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it before we get too far along. So construction-wise, the cigar looks good. It's got small to medium-sized veins. The cap was applied neatly. It has a nice firm feel to it, like it's got a good solid amount of tobacco in it. It's not loose and spongy. The pre-light draw was a little stiff. That translated over to the actual draw when the cigar was lit afterwards. It's a touch stiff, but it really isn't much to complain about. Visually, my only complaint about the cigar that's not necessarily a complaint is that the wrapper kind of looks funny. You ever pick up a cigar and look at it closely, and you just see so much. The tobacco wrappers are just, they can be beautiful things. You see rich colors, really intricate little marks throughout, whether it's this sort of graining in the leaf or patches and coloring and things like that, where the wrapper on this one almost looks like there's a nice wrapper under there, but it's covered in a coat of wax. It doesn't feel that way, but visually it just looks like there's a deep, rich wrapper somewhere under there. It's got this weird sort of sheen to it. Flavor-wise, there really isn't a whole lot to talk about so early on. I mean, I'm getting a little bit of a leather taste, but the dominant presence here is spice. It just smacks you around. It's really aggressive on the palate, it's aggressive on the throat, and it's aggressive when you retrohale and get the smoke through your sinus. So early on, this is pretty much every bit as powerful as I remembered it. However, I remembered it as being a powerful cigar, but things have really changed over the years. Full body now is much different than full body that I remembered. But I don't know whether this cigar has changed with the times, or if this is pretty much the same recipe that they've been doing for years. But it is definitely something that I would consider a full-bodied cigar by today's standards. It's it's powerful, it's in your face, and it's got a really heavy smoke to it. Kind of light on the flavors, but there's a little bit of leather there, and there's mostly spice. And the spice is really only noticeable through the retrohale. You don't get the spicy component on the palate at all. So it's a decent cigar. It's well worth $2 at this point, but we've got a long way to go, and I'm curious to see how it turns out. Well, you're probably wondering why is this video running so long? Usually, the last couple of videos I've done have generally been wrapped up by now, and we're kind of moving on, and that's kind of the way things have trended over the years. Attention spans have shrunk dramatically, and you just can't get away with an 18 or 20 or 30-minute video anymore. It just doesn't work out that way. At least not for us. Not the way we've evolved over the years. So we've tried to keep things, nice and condensed to work out with everyone's attention spans. And frankly, I just don't care at the moment. We're doing a throwback cigar, and I miss the good old days where we used to sit down, turn the camera on, and just run with it. And the video ran as long as it ran. So that's kind of where we're going with this. I'm just going to do my thing until I don't feel like doing it anymore, and then I'll close out the video and turn it off. So I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on what's going on with me. I haven't been posting a lot of videos. I've been trying to get them done here and there over the last couple of months. I actually recorded a whole bunch of stuff. I've got probably 6 or 8 videos somewhere. They're either on the memory card for the camera, they're on my laptop, somewhere. They've been transferred somewhere. I recorded a bunch, or recorded a few, and then transferred them with the intention of editing them and posting them, but just things have been really busy, and it's been really tough, probably a year and a half now. So about a year and a half ago, my wife lost her job, which really sucked because she was the breadwinner in the house. Not by much, but she was officially making more money than me. And when that happened, we went through a tremendous transition in the household because my wife wasn't really happy where she was. She was working for an employer that had a pretty high turnover rate, but she was the longest running employee there for quite some time, and I don't know what the dynamics were of why she wound up losing her job, but it worked out that way, and she was at a crossroads. Does she leave the area to continue in the field that she was in, or does she change career paths? And she wasn't really happy, so changing career paths seemed like the best choice. So she started going to nursing school. At first she started with a CNA program to kind of get her foot in the door. Once the CNA program was completed, and she went back for, she's in school now for an LPN program, which finishes around December. So I kind of went from having lots of free time because my wife and I had schedules that were really close together as far as when she worked and when I worked, to it being just a complete disaster in terms of trying to find time for anything. I don't mind doing it. It's for the good of the family, but it's been really tough to try to pick out free time. And even when I do find free time, I can't put it all together and get stuff posted on time. So I'm doing the best that I can with what I can. And to make matters worse with that whole thing, the house that we're in is an absolute nightmare. It has been from the day we bought it, and it's the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life was buying this house. we bought a fixer-upper, and at the time I had just changed careers. I was a cabinet maker for years, very familiar with working with my hands, kind of a do-it-yourselfer type. I really didn't mind getting my hands dirty. And when we toured this house, I saw a lot of work, but I saw a lot of things that I could do myself. Well, when you have a family and all of that stuff comes together, it makes it really difficult to consistently work on something as well as get other things done. So over the years, I've kind of fallen behind on the time frame that I wanted to get things done in. And then to make matters worse, things were far worse than I thought they were. So just it seems like whenever I got started on one project, something else went wrong, or it wasn't done right to begin with, so it made it 10 times harder to do it right after the fact. So I've been experiencing a lot of that, and we're finally at the point now where we can actually get out of here. The house isn't finished. We're planning on selling it as is, and in the meantime, we're moving somewhere else where there's actually a cigar shop in the area. So I'm really excited to finally get out of here. It means giving up my cigar room. I'll probably be stuck outside for a little while until I can get a room built in the basement, much like this one. And we're going to kind of go from there. We'll be moving at the end of the month. And one of the really appealing things about this move is that there are really no cigar shops in my area. And actually, I lie, there are. There's Cigar, which is really close, the Reading location. And there's the Cigars International Superstore up in Hamburg. And I'm just, quite frankly, I'm not really happy with either one. Cigar is always dead. It's kind of dirty. It's not a very inviting place. The guy that works behind the counter, like, I don't know, you walk in there and you feel like you're a thief. He follows you around, he plays that pretending to do busy work kind of thing. He'll follow you in. You'll be looking around and he'll kind of keep his head down, pretend to be shuffling boxes around. And as soon as you leave, he follows you out. It's just a very awkward position. I don't like being treated that way, so I don't go in there unless I absolutely have to. And while the Cigars International store is really nice, it's not the same as a little B&M. It's kind of upbeat and high energy music and all this other stuff going on, but it doesn't have that same homey feel that a local B&M does. You don't just see reps stopping in, from time to time. You kind of fall out of touch with what's going on because there really is no, at least I've never got any insider information from a big megastore. So I haven't really spent a whole lot of time up there. Not that I have much time to spare anyway. But where we'll be moving is really close to Sir Stogie's, which is a cigar shop I've talked about in the past. I really love the place. It's a great little store. It's too far away. I don't have much time these days, so I don't really get down there. But where we're moving is like 0.8 miles down the road from Sir Stogie's, so I'm kind of excited that I'm actually going to have a cigar shop in the area once again, and it's close enough that I can practically walk there. The streets don't make it easy, but if I wanted to, I could just walk out my front door down the street and go to the cigar shop. So, in a sense of cigars, I'm really excited about it. In the sense of having less work to do around the house and having more time to devote to other hobbies, I'm really excited about it. So, I'm I'm pretty excited, and I'm really looking forward to the end of the month when things sort of come together and hopefully things get easier. Well, I wasn't planning on doing any more off-topic discussion between now and the end, the end of the cigar, but what the hell? The video's running long, might as well just, get it all taken care of. So every year, Mike and I generally cover the famous smoke shop Cigar Nibble. We've done it for, I don't know how many years it's been now, maybe 5 or 6 years we've covered it. Not Mike and I, but Stogie Review in general. I started covering it 5 or 6 years ago. And ever since the first time I was there, it's been an awesome event. They set up everything outdoors. It's under tents. Sometimes it can be a little hot depending on when they do it, and when they hold the event generally coincides with IPCPR in some form or another. This year it's coming up really soon. It's actually about 2 or 3 weeks from now, June 27th and 28th. And this year, unfortunately, we are unable to make it. Just like a couple years ago when IPCPR was in Vegas and the time frame was pulled forward, it falls on the same weekend as my daughter's birthday. So I won't be there for obvious reasons. I've got a birthday party for my daughter to host and attend. So that makes that Friday unavailable. It makes me unavailable that Friday. And I don't really want to drive up the day of the event. And even if I were to drive up the day of the event, it takes away from other stuff. It's also the same weekend we're going to be moving most of our stuff out of here. So, unfortunately, we're unable to do the event. And in years past, Mike has covered the event by himself, or at least with a friend of Stogie Review. But with his wife's work schedule, he's also moved. He's still in Pennsylvania. He's just not in Redline anymore. He is unable to make it as well, so it really saddens me because the event is amazing. It is hands down the best event in the area, probably in the tri-state area. It's really something to do. If you've got the extra cash and you've got the free time, the famous Cigar Nibble is really well worth the time and the investment. You get it's a big return on the money. The food, the beer, drinks, entertainment, all of that stuff. It's just really top-notch event. Cigar Fest was I don't know, back in May, I think, first week of May, and we haven't covered that in the last couple of years, mainly because no one will get back to us, or no one will get back to me. Back when, I forget the guy's name, but Keith Meyer, I think, back when he owned Cigars International, or at least when he was in charge, we always had direct conversation or direct communication with Cigars International. It was really easy to make arrangements, and then once he got out of it and the company was sold over to Swedish Match or whoever's got it now, the communication has just been getting worse and worse and worse, and it's the point now where a couple of years ago we got an invite, but it was about a week before the event, and I can't schedule time off of work with a week's notice, so that didn't happen. And then the following year, I never heard anything back, and I think it's been at least 3 years since we've covered the event, which is really unfortunate because even though it is like a cattle drive and it's way too damn crowded in there, I still enjoy doing it, mostly because I like visiting a friend Jason in the area who's a really big cigar smoker, and I kind of miss it. It was the one time a year where we would get up and see Jason and do the whole cigar thing, and it made it all worth it. And we just haven't done that for the last couple of years. IPCPR is a completely different story. We're not covering the event this year. Jerry's planning on explaining the situation as to why we're not going. It is a choice. We decided that we don't want to do it, and I'll kind of let Jerry elaborate on that. I think that's all the off-topic discussion I want to do for this video. If anything pops in my mind, I'm going to throw it out there. Most of you have probably turned this video off by now, but I really don't care, so. Well, I'm coming down the home stretch with my Sancho Panza Extra Fuerte. I think this is the Pamplona size. It's Rothschild Robusto-ish. Probably 4.5, 5 inches or so by about 48 to 50 ring gauge. I don't remember the specifics when I bought it. My computer's all the way on the other side of the room, and I'll be damned if I'm going to get up and get it. So, so far, the cigar is smoking really well. It's not going to win any awards. Let's be realistic here. It's a $2 cigar that performs like maybe a $4 cigar. It's a good solid stick. The things have toned down a little bit. It's not that slap you in the mouth with spice anymore. There's still a heavy spicy component through the sinus, but it's not nearly as aggressive through the sinus or on the palate or in the throat anymore. It's more of a laid-back, eased sort of push with body and power equalizing a bit. It's not so much all power, and the smoke is more balanced. Okay, I don't know how else to describe it. It's a little bit more mellow at this point. The cigar is beginning to get a little bit warm on my fingers, and I've got a lot to go yet, but the draw being a little restricted is translating a bit more heat through. The smoke gets a little bit harsh if you smoke it a little too fast, but it's one of those times you just slow down a little bit, and it's really not an issue. I have had to touch the cigar up, I think twice, throughout this entire time. I think I did it once on camera. I didn't necessarily have to, but it was kind of burning a little funky, and you know, just a quick hit with the torch, and it really took care of it. Smoke volume is decent. The smoke density is really good. The resting smoke, it looks pretty thin. I mean, there are some cigars where I smoke down here, and it looks like something smoldering and on fire. You know, the exhaust fan can't keep up with them. But in this case, the room is pretty clear. The smoke coming off the end of the cigar isn't pungent. It's actually quite pleasant. It's got almost a little bit of a woody aroma to it. So flavor-wise, you've got excuse me, a little bit of a spicy component on the palate. Finally, it's not all in the sinus anymore. You taste a little bit of the spiciness. It's got some leather tones, maybe a little bit of a woody taste, and it's got a nice kind of buttery texture. It's not what I would consider a rich, thick smoke or a creamy smoke, but it's not wispy thin either. You know, there's some depth there. It's probably medium-bodied at this point, so it has stepped back from being what I would consider full-bodied to medium-bodied. You know, as the cigar grew shorter. So again, $2 a stick on sale at Atlantic Cigar. A really solid buy. It's not going to win any awards, but if you're looking for something inexpensive to smoke while you've got something going on with your hands, you know, you're working, you're outside, you're doing whatever, one of the situations where you can't dedicate all of your time to the cigar, I think this is a winner. It's a good throwback cigar. It's something I haven't had in years, and I'm really glad I picked them up on sale. It's something I'll try to keep handy in the humidor for the rare occasion when, you know, I'm doing something and, you know, the cigar comes second. So, good solid smoke. Go order some from somewhere. You don't have to get them from Atlantic. They're not a sponsor or anything. Off the top of my head, I can't think of who is a sponsor that might carry them, aside from maybe Smoke Inn. Or Cigar Bandits. Maybe Cigar Bandits has them. Cigar Bandits has a bunch of stuff, and we really haven't talked about them much. They're a new sponsor. So go to Cigar Bandits and see if they have the Sancho Panza Extra Fuerte. And if they don't, tell them they should carry them. Because they're a general cigar product, and, well, everyone usually carries that kind of stuff. So go get some. I really forgot how much fun it is to just turn the camera on and just let it run. No consideration for time limits on the video or content. You know, just kind of touch on the cigar, talk about whatever you want to talk about. We're adapting the "fuck it" catchphrase here. It is what it is. We're just having fun getting back to the way things were.